Stop looking at the stars for a moment and look down at the ground beneath your feet. We spend our lives gazing at the sky, but the most terrifying secret of our past isn't in space, it's waiting in the dirt below us. Legends speak of hidden corridors. Structures engineered to outlast the apocalypse. Subterranean temples where forgotten empires concealed their darkest knowledge. There is a city in Turkey where 20,000 souls vanished into the earth. There are American myths of tribes escaping destruction by retreating into the crust. And deep inside a restricted Russian mountain, modern humanity has constructed its own colossal shadow world. These sites are separated by thousands of miles, yet they whisper the same chilling reality. Mankind has always buried its most dangerous mysteries in the dark. So what is actually waiting down there, and why are we seemingly forbidden from finding it? Welcome back to Winds of Thought. Friends, the first undeniable proof of a global subterranean network emerged in Turkey just 60 years ago. A local man in Cappadocia was doing simple renovations on his home. He took a sledgehammer to a basement wall, expecting to find dirt, but instead, the wall collapsed into a void. A cold draft blew from a tunnel that twisted away into the blackness, branching off into endless deep routes. He had accidentally cracked open a metropolis that had been lost to time, a ghost city sealed for ages. We now call this engineering marvel Derinkuyu. It plunges 280 feet down and, based on what we have mapped so far, consists of 18 distinct floors. Experts believe that at its peak, this abyss housed 20,000 residents. It had living quarters, stables for animals, massive food depots, and running water. Imagine a fully operational town, but submerged entirely in stone. The architecture is mind-bending. Tight passageways suddenly expand into cavernous meeting halls. There are rolling stone doors, weighing 1,000 pounds, designed to seal the tunnels from the inside. Ventilation shafts slice through every layer, bringing oxygen to the deepest pits. Some of these air ducts are as tall as a modern skyscraper, only inverted into the bedrock. They had freshwater wells. They had armories, communal kitchens, and places of worship, all hewn from solid volcanic ash. Derinkuyu was not a hole dug in panic. It was a sophisticated, hardened fortress built to keep a civilization alive in the dark for years. But who carved it? That is where the story gets impossible. Digging a root cellar is one thing. But removing millions of tons of rock, reinforcing ceilings, and boring air shafts that still work perfectly today, without power tools, is an industrial feat. Archaeologists date the construction to around 100 BC, over 2 millennia ago. However, the mathematical precision of the airflow systems and the colossal amount of stone removed contradicts the primitive chisels historians say they used. Modern mining engineers confess that duplicating this complex today would push our own technology to the limit. So, what was the motive? The textbook answer is that it was a hideout. Cappadocia was a war zone, raided by Persians, Romans, and Mongols. The ability to vanish instantly was the ultimate survival strategy. Viewed this way, Derinkuyu was a survival bunker, a place to wait out the bloodshed happening above. But that theory fails to explain the elaborate churches and vast wine presses found in the deep. You don't build cathedrals in a temporary foxhole. Some scholars suspect the religious architecture implies a spiritual connection to the underworld. Others argue the city was a multi-generational project, dug deeper by each new century of residents. Derinkuyu stayed hidden until the 1960s, not because it was ruined, but because it was ruined, but because it was deliberately locked. For hundreds of years, villagers walked over it, oblivious to the hollow world beneath their floorboards. Even now, many tunnels remain barricaded or collapsed. Researchers believe there are levels even further down, floors we have never seen. Locals insist these corridors run for miles, linking Derinkuyu to dozens of other buried cities in the region, like a subway system for the ancient world. If they are right, we have only found the lobby of a continent-spanning labyrinth. Derinkuyu might be the biggest we know of, but it is not unique. It is just one gate, leading into a forbidden network. A shadow kingdom under Turkey that we still barely comprehend. While Turkey's tunnels saved lives, the ones beneath Mexico's pyramids were built for something much darker. Under the massive ruins of Teotihuacan, a metropolis of 100,000 souls, scientists found tunnels that were hidden on purpose for nearly 2,000 years. The breakthrough happened in 2003, after a storm opened a sinkhole near the Temple of the Feathered Serpent. An archaeologist named Sergio Gomez lowered himself into the darkness and found a heavy stone seal blocking the way. Breaking through, he found himself in a corridor running straight under the pyramid's heart. The tunnel went on for 330 feet, terminating in sealed vaults directly below the majestic temple. What Gomez and his crew uncovered was not just a construction feat, it was a riddle that defies logic. The tunnel was filled with gifts, jade statues, rare shells, and thousands of artifacts. They found exquisite pottery and mysterious sculptures. But the most unsettling find was pools of liquid mercury, shining like toxic mirrors in the torchlight. Why would a pre-industrial culture drag liquid mercury into a damp cave and seal it away? Mercury is deadly, rare, and incredibly difficult to extract from ore. For years, historians assumed ancient Americans and Americans never used mercury, until this room proved them wrong. Some experts think the metal represented a supernatural river, a shimmering barrier between the living and the dead. Others believe it was a cosmic map, a miniature universe where shamans performed rituals of transformation. The design supports this wild theory. The walls were dusted with pyrite and hematite powder, minerals that sparkle like diamonds when lit by fire. They also found traces of golden spheres, possibly mimicking the planets. This was not a bunker like Derinkuyu. It was a theater for the gods, a place where kings journeyed into the earth to reenact the moment of creation. The tunnel was closed off in ancient times. Builders dragged massive boulders to block the entrance, intending for it to remain lost forever. Whoever locked it wanted to ensure the portal stayed closed. Yet the effort to build it was staggering, tunneling through rock, painting the walls with stardust, importing toxic metal. These were calculated, obsessive acts. The pyramids above reached for the sun, but they were anchored by roots reaching for hell. Above ground, the avenue of the dead was for the public. Below, secret chambers mimicked the galaxy and the underworld, hidden from the eyes of commoners. This split, public grandeur and buried secrets, defines a society where knowledge was the ultimate power. High in the Peruvian Andes, the ruins of Chavín de Huántar hide a mechanism designed to break the human mind. Chavín was a spiritual capital thriving 3,000 years ago. On the surface, it looks like any other stone temple. But underneath, there is a web of tunnels unlike anything else on Earth.